Yeah, the music that we play is you know, it's many things, but really at the core of what it is jazz, because it's largely improvised music. So in the show tonight, we played a number of our songs, but you know, the songs are a very loose structure for the music, and kind of inform it without dictating what comes out. So every night it's different.
Our music sounds electronic, but it's not. And I like the quote that Miles Davis once said. He referred to jazz as not being a style or a rhythm, but it's the spirit of improvisation, innovation, and self-expression as it relates to the time that we live in. And that's what we're trying to do. So Nerve gives us the platform to express this, really trying to reach out for an authentic 21st century expression and not just regurgitates the 20th century over and over and over again. So it's trying to find something authentic and new.
Ghosts of Tomorrow is our new record, and one of the big steps for us that it represents is we tried to change the sort of concept of what we do in the studio, as opposed to the typical studio process of recording and then editing and doing additional production and then finally, you know, having a song that's ready to be mixed. We wanted to start with all of those concepts and approaches happening in real time as we played. So a lot of the album was improvised, and a lot of the sonic processing and treatments that would normally be post-production were things that actually happened in real time. And that gave us the freedom to sort of really stretch a lot further than we would have normally, and be a lot more inspired and capture, you know, what we think are some really honest performances, not just constructed songs that are cool, but actually something that happened in real time and has some of the magic and spark that the live performances have.
We kind of like moved on or disregard the usual protocol of recording music. I mean, recording audio is only about 100 years old, and the whole record industry created a certain template where you compose music first, then you rehearse it, then you go to the studio, you do basic tracks, then you do overdubs, then you mix it, or you edit it and you mix it, and then you master it. And that whole process, we completely deconstruct that, because there's no isolation between the process of composing, editing, and mixing. It all happens sometimes in reverse order, sometimes simultaneously. And I think the reason why we started to explore different ways is because we live in a post-record industry world, and really what's happening in the record industry right now is more of like, again, it's an echo of the 20th century. And if you try to do music which is off the mainstream, which is necessary if you want to push the envelope, you can't really do it in the mainstream or at the center of like pop culture. It will happen at the fringe, and then it will move to the center. So that fringe is the experimentation zone, which we kind of like leave the old shorelines, or we cannot see the old shorelines because we want to discover like a new one. So that is a little bit, you have to take a leap of faith and try new things, and sometimes it's trial and error. Some of the things work out and some of the things do not work out, and Ghost of Tomorrow is a lot of instances of like things that started to work out. Was basically the solution that we found to some of the problems that we were trying to solve over the past like 1.5 years. So that is the result. Also, it has to be said that Ghost of Tomorrow is our first full-length record in about 4 or 5 years. We did a series of like EPs, which were, you know, between 3 and 5 songs, which allowed us to make those EPs in a very, very short time. And we usually only spend about a week per EP, and that protocol we could use for the full length. And It's very unusual how fast we made that EP. I think it only took us about 3 weeks to make the whole record, which means we started from scratch. There was hardly any pre-production. Everything that we did happened in those 3 weeks, from like composing, innovating the concept to mix it, you know, and that's extremely unusual. But I think that's a new template, how bands are going to be able to make records in the future without spending months and months and months in the studio, which is much more difficult nowadays because it's more difficult to make money by selling records. So you have to kind of like adjust the process of making product as far as like a record or CD or all these things.
I mean, I think it's kind of a mixed bag, you know, where it's pretty great that like, you know, a band like this can have a platform where they can, you know, where we can communicate basically directly with our fans, you know, because that's a really new thing, you know, that without infrastructure, without somebody paying for advertising, we can just, you know, post a picture, send a message, and like a lot of people could see that. But the problem is that a lot of other people don't see it. You know, even among the people who like our page and like, you know, follow us and, you know, try to keep up with what we've been doing, it's still, you know, if we post something about, let's say, the new record being out, you know, maybe 1/10 of those people actually see it. You know, so it's in a way it's kind of an illusion. I mean, it's better than nothing, you know, but it's not. It's maybe not as powerful as it seems.
The most important thing really is that we would like everybody to be able to see us live. I mean, that's really where this band came from, and the way that this band thrives is really in a live situation. I mean, the album is, you know, that's artistic output on its own, but really that's an attempt to capture what we do live. So I think that it's very important. You can connect directly with people in a way that, you know, you can't do just through a record, or you can't do just through an Instagram video or a YouTube video. Even if you get, you know, hundreds of thousands of people watch the YouTube video, it's completely different from standing in the front row or something, and you know, and feeling the air move from the kick drum or the subs, or, you know, hearing the way, you know, the keyboard sound through a big PA. It's a totally different feeling. So I would say that really playing in gigs and clubs is the most important thing, and that's how we can really connect to people.
You know, we're at the fulcrum of two different eras, and it's very it's a confusing time for art and music, because everything kind of unhinges, and some things become a new meaning. So for us, music is art, and for us, art has a purpose. And I think one of the purpose that it has is to be a vessel, or, you know, a body where certain values can be transported. You know, those values are, you know, courage, empathy, individualism, you know, all these things that all the people that played music that came before us that we like, that's, you know, Mozart or Stravinsky or Louis Armstrong or Duke Ellington or Charlie Parker or Jimi Hendrix or the Beatles or Pink Floyd or Aphex Twin, you know, basically all these people were a body for the same fire that we're trying to be. Now, in the time that we live right now, I think there's two main concerns that address artists and like musicians like us, which is the recalibration of perception. I think that's what art does. And we live in a time where we're under such attack by the incremental development of technology and things like social media, that I think right now it's a challenge for people to be able to discern between what's real and what's not. You know, like we lose that boundary gets away, and this is very dangerous because usually when people cannot tell the difference between what's real and what's not, it's a small step, and they don't know anymore what's right and from what's wrong, and that usually comes before bad things happen. And we're trying to do things so good things can happen, and I think the recalibration of the perception so people can tell, well, this is legitimate and this is not. Now, when we play live, this is a very strong and immediate result. Especially the drums is really like a communication instrument. So the second concern that art has is like platform. Now, the platform of human interaction is vanishing, you know, for like a number of reasons. There's less and less zones where art can happen, like music. It gets replaced by some sort of like a virtual platform of like the internet, which is not really real. So let's say, just for instance, you know, we're going to have virtual reality starts next year with like Oculus Rift. So the ramification on our perception is going to be complete. So I would say in a couple of years from now, we are going to have like 80-year-old man inside virtual reality suits water skiing with 19-year-old girls. And when this reality is going to happen, the most important thing is going to be, the most valuable thing, or the most precious thing is going to be a real human being listening to you with genuine concern. So that is already happening. Like for us to be able to play to someone that listens to us, or playing something, or understand that someone is listening to us with genuine concern, so have a human interaction, this is really expressed in a very, very pure form in a live concert, more than we could do it in a movie or a video or on like a record. So that's why we seek out this platform, because I think a live experience has the potential to change someone's life. I mean, all of us, our lives has been changed by being exposed to live music. That's the reason why we are here.
I guess first of all, we've been having a really good time here so far. We're eating some really good food, and you know, it's nice and warm. It's cold in New York right now, so it's you know, it's great to be here. You know, this is our first time playing here as the band. I mean, everyone that's been here has been really nice, and it's been, you know, enjoyable. You know, I don't know if people have experienced something quite like what we do before. You know, I think it's kind of probably the first time that anything like this has come here, but hopefully people are feeling it, you know, and get into it. I know JOJO's played here before, just as a drums, like a solo thing, but yeah, it's been good. I mean, you know, it's hard to say what everyone thinks. I mean, the best thing to do would be to talk to the people in the audience. You know, it's hard for us to tell. It's like, hopefully we connect to people from our perspective. It feels good on stage. So, well, after being here, we're continuing a tour around Asia. We go to Japan for 3 nights, then Hong Kong, and 3 shows in mainland China, and then that's pretty much it for the rest of the year. We have to kind of figure out next year. We'll probably be doing some touring in Europe, probably some festivals as well, and you know, we're going to have a lot of live material recorded from this tour, so there may be more live recordings that we put out. We'll see. We'll have to wait and see when the tour is over if we feel like we have something new to say, because we just put out a live record last year, so or earlier this year. But yeah, I don't know. It's always continues to move forward. We try and find new expressions, new technology,